Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are LA.
Homestand continues here at the Big A. The Angels are on a hot streak. 5 consecutive wins, and tonight they look to make it 6 in a row. It's game 2 against the visiting Tampa Bay Rays. From inside the Big A, we welcome you back to Angels Baseball here on Fox Sports West, along with Mark Gubiza. I'm Victor Rojas. We thank you for joining us once again. And I tell you what, the Angels offense, it's really been a long ball fiesta over the homestand. They continue with that long ball, 4 home runs last night and picking up the victory.
Yeah, and when they're hitting swing the bats like that and crushing the ball, centering the ball off the barrel of the bat, they are doing some serious damage. Take a look at our AT&T Uverse Rewind. You're going to look at 2 guys that have been crushing the baseball this season alone. Mike Trout, of course, center that baseball, barrel the bat, 3-run home run for Trouty. He continues to swing the bat well, but the guy that's been extremely hot, Albert Pujols. His first home run went about 460 feet. You talk about crushing the ball. He absolutely tattooed that home run. Mike Trout loved it. Then he comes back up late in the game, the same thing. This one possibly even as far, about 900 feet of home runs for Albert Pujols. And when these two have homered, that's 20 times in their career during the regular season. 14-6, the Angels already done it together 3 times this year, 2-1. So when these guys are swinging the bat, the entire lineup is balanced and comfortable.
49th multi-homer game for Albert Pujols in his career, now 1 shy of tying Jimmy Fox for 17th all-time. But let's get to the pitching matchup tonight, because it should be a pretty good one. C.J. Wilson on the mound for the Angels. Chris Archer's been fantastic for the Rays.
It's going to be tough to hit a lot of home runs for either side the way these 2 guys are throwing the baseball. Archer's got one of the best sliders in all of baseball, plus he can rush it up there. Upper 90s, ERA just barely over 2, which is 5th best in the American League. C.J. Wilson, he's got that good numbers as far as the record in ERA so far. 2 career shutouts, both have been against the Tampa Bay Rays. He did in 11 and 2014. Look for him to go out there and attack the strike zone early. If he does that, he should be very successful.
Halo's looking to make it a season high, 6 straight victories. As we're just about ready for baseball here at the Big A, sit back and relax. Lineups and first pitch when we return. A
Who
on this
knew?
Tuesday night. Had no idea. Game number 53 for the Halos, and with this 5-game winning streak, the Angels now 28-24 on the season. And at the start of the day, 4 games back, the Houston Astros in the American League West. The Angels obviously have done it with the long ball. And we mentioned that last night. As a matter of fact, in the month of May, the long ball kind of picked up. 18 home runs in the month of April, 32 home runs in the month of May. And not a bad start to the month of June with 4 in one game.
Well, Mike Scioscia said he felt comfortable with this lineup at some point, getting relaxed at the plate. And you don't hit home runs by trying to hit home runs. You relax it with your approach and just trying to center up the baseball, and they've done that extremely well of late.
C.J. Wilson just about ready to take the field and the mound here. Obviously wearing the red alternate tops. They wore them yesterday, and so far so good for the Halos as they continue to play better baseball here at home. It wasn't that way when the season started, but now 16-11 at home. And the hope is, of course, they finish strong on this homestand, have the travel day. It'll be their first off day in 3 weeks as they head to New York for a series beginning against the Yankees on Friday night, that they can carry over that momentum into that road trip to New York and Tampa.
Well, the big thing is you just want to continue to play solid baseball with the pitching the way it has been, not only in the starting pitching, but especially the bullpen, back end of the bullpen. You always have a chance. So you just want to stay close and hope for the offense to get hot, and it has at this point. And now the pitching staff knows that and can be more aggressive in the strike zone.
Check out the lineup for the Tampa Bay Rays as presented by Kevin Cash, their first-year skipper. They are now 26-26 with a loss last night. Brandon Guyer will lead things off at left. Joey Butler, DH. Evan Longoria, third. Logan Forsythe is the second baseman. Steven Souza Jr., the right fielder. You've got Jake Elmore at first base as Drupal Cabrera is shortstop. That's Mikey Matuk is the center fielder, and Rene Rivera batting 9 and doing the catching as they take on C.J. Wilson, 3-3 on the season, with a 3.18 earned run average.
Yeah, he's done a very good job as far as establishing the strike zone, especially early in the season. ERA just barely over 3 for CJ. When you think about what he's done the first 7 games as far as pitches per batter, 3.7 pitches per batter, but his last 3 starts a little bit more inconsistent around the strike zone. Look for CJ, especially because he's had a lot of success against the Rays, to be even more aggressive and throw a lot less pitches to get some quick outs.
Defensively for the Halos tonight, you've got Matt Joyce in left, Kirk Neuenhuis in center field, Mike Trout at DH tonight, Cole Calhoun is in right. It is his night after all. The infield has David Freese and Eric Iber on the left side, Johnny Giavatello and Albert Pujols on the right, and Chris Iannetta behind the plate.
And Neuenhuis getting the start in center field. First start as an Angel in that position at 74 career starts, 4 outfield assists. He is very aggressive. I was wondering if he was going to play shallow in center. You can see right away he's going to be playing shallow. Did it in left field. He's very aggressive going back on the baseball, more comfortable.
Mike Trout with the quasi day off. Mike Scioscia just saying, wanted to get Trout off his feet. We mentioned that the Halos have gone through this stretch of 20 consecutive games, or will after tomorrow, without an off day. So a nice opportunity for him to just DH and take it easy tonight. The Angels did not take batting practice on the field once again. That's the second consecutive day that has occurred, which is first time I could ever remember.
Very unlike Mike Scioscia's club, especially with Albert Pujols.
First pitch tonight is cut on and pulled foul by Brandon Guyer, and it's an 0-1 count. Guyer, the starting left fielder, hitting .298, couple of home runs, 13 runs batted in. Got into the game last night as a pinch hitter, got into a double play.
You know, Victor, when I see a guy at first pitch turn on a fastball like that, pull it foul, I actually feel pretty good at the plate. I mean, with him at the plate now, because now I can throw a cutter in like he did. I can throw a 2-seamer away. I can throw something off speed away, because you know he's gearing, hoping for a fastball first pitch. He got the first one and he missed it.
Guyer lifts this one in the air down the right field line. Johnny Giavatello cuts across, and he will make the catch for the first down.
Just on cue, exactly what you want to do if you're CJ, is throw something off speed. You can see him so geared up to a fastball, unable to make good contact on the off speed pitch.
Or should I say Donatello? Apparently that was the winning nickname for Johnny Giavatello on the pregame show.
He is the Ninja Turtle.
The Ninja Turtle.
Yes.
Okay. That's what apparently Eric Ibar calls him, Donatello, because allegedly cannot pronounce Giavatello.
Nor can we at times.
I like Donatello.
Yeah.
There's Joey Butler, the DH, and is down and in for ball 1. Butler last night 1 for 4 with an RBI single. 338 average, 3 home runs, 9 runs batted in. Takes upstairs. And it's 2 balls and no strikes. Rays last night had 6 hits. Both teams went 1 for 5 with men in scoring position, but when you're hitting the long ball as the Angels have, it really matters. This one shot back up the middle. It's a 1-out single. Man on for Evan Longoria. Hey fans, the broadcast of the Angels baseball is being broadcast on AFN, the American Forces Network, broadcasting to the U.S. Armed Forces serving around the world on land and on ships at sea. We welcome you and we thank you for your service.
Thank you so much. Butler now in both of these games, both of his hits have been up the middle. He's way off the plate, but he dives in as soon as the pitch is being thrown, so you can use that against him. You can throw that cut fastball off the plate and be able to jam him.
First one to Longoria is in there for a strike. Rays third baseman hitting .275. 5 home runs, 25 driven home. A single last night as he went 1 for 4.
CJ with 2 pickoffs this year. Tampa will run 30 stolen bases. Caught 15 times though.
Slider in the dirt. And it's 1 ball, 1 strike. CJ coming off a win against the Tigers. Gave up 1 run on 2 hits and 6 innings of work. Threw 107 pitches in those 6 innings. Four no decisions for Wilson this year. And Longoria lines one out the left field. Matt Joyce comes in, makes the catch, 2 down.
Hit well by Longoria against Wilson, but Joyce right there. Now 5 for 25 against CJ Wilson.
So 2 outs and a man at first, and it's Logan Forsythe coming up. Played first base last night, starting second baseman tonight. One ball, no strikes. Just underway. Joey Butler, the DH, with a single, stands at first base. This one's down the left field line. Joyce racing over. Not a whole lot of room over there. That is gone. A home run. Snuck it around the foul pole. It is a 2-run home run that puts the Rays up 2-0.
Well, right down the line. The baseball does carry here well down both lines. It looked off the bat that it was going to go foul.
Yeah.
It's only the 5th home run that CJ has allowed this season. 4 of the 5 have been against right-handed batters. Inner half of the plate. It looked like it was a cut fastball. The guy's hands inside the baseball and just gets it out.
So the Halos play from behind. This one's bounced over to third. The Rays being very aggressive early in the count as Souza Jr. grounds out the end of the inning, but it's a 2-0 lead for the Rays as we head to the bottom of the first. Ivar, John and Pujols coming up for the Halos. Two-run blast. We'll check out Mike Scioscia's starting lineup for the Angels. Eric Eibel will lead things off, play shortstop. Mike Trout, as we mentioned, the DH tonight. Albert Pujols at first. Cole Calhoun, the cleanup hitter, in right. Then you've got David Freese, Matt Joyce, and Chris Iannetta. Kirk Neuenhuis gets a start at center. Johnny Giavatello rounding out that starting nine, playing second base. They take on the 26-year-old right-hander, native of Clayton, North Carolina. His name is Chris Archer.
And Archer, one of the best young pitchers in all of baseball. Fastball, 92-97. He has a plus-plus slider and also a solid changeup. But my go-to is to be successful, avoid those slider counts, and throw off his timing. He is very active and hyper on the mound. You got to get him off his game, move around, make him feel his position, and slow down his pace.
Eric Eibel last night, a 1-for-4 game, now a 9-game hitting streak. And the first one is ripped out to right center field. It's a base hit. Souza, the right fielder, scoops it up, gets it back in, and the Angels get their leadoff man on board. Raised defensively tonight is Geyer, Matuk, and Souza from left to right in the outfield. Longoria, Cabrera, Forsythe, and Elmore for third to first, and Elmore behind the plate.
Geyer out in left field, very aggressive outfielder himself. His 94 career starts in left field. He's played some center and some right. Only one error in his career, and that was in left field back in 2012.
Here's Trout. 294 average, 13 home runs, and 30 RBIs. Nineteenth game as a designated hitter for Trout in his career. Takes a breaking ball for a strike. Archer with terrific numbers this year. Just 48 hits allowed. It was 68 innings of work, 82 strikeouts and 20 walks. Continues to get better and better with each season.
Opponents only hitting 191 coming into the game before that hit by Eric Eibel.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
I think the big thing that separates him from a lot of other young pitchers is his ability not only to get swing and misses with his slider, but also to throw that slider for strikes and change speeds with it.
Good numbers in his career against the Angels, this being his 5th start. 3-1 and a 3.63 earned run average. Ibar with a good lead over at first base, a leadoff single for him. Foul back, challenge him with a fastball.
As you can see, Archer holds the ball very well. Very difficult for a base stealer to get a good jump against him. Pretty impressive, especially for a young pitcher to be able to hold the baseball like that, because a lot of times you're hyper, you want to throw the ball. He's able to hold it and stop the runner from getting any traction as far as trying to get a good jump.
Back, another fastball.
He was on that fastball too. That's exactly the zone where Trout covers. 94-mile-an-hour fastball, but it was around knee-high, middle of the plate. And you can tell by his reaction, he felt comfortable with that swing. More than likely now, he'll see a slider.
Rivera set up outside. That one just misses off the plate. Evens up the count at 2-2. Albert Pujols on deck. Just joining us. The Rays getting 2 runs in the first inning. 2-out home run off the bat of Logan Forsythe, his 6th home run of the season. Right down the left field line. Two-two, got him with a breaking ball. 1 down.
Monday key for this game for the Angels to be successful against this very good pitcher. You got to have the red-hot Albert Pujols at the plate, straight to the bank. Little 50 Cent. He's been hitting the ball so well. The power has been coming back for quite a while now for Pujols. So 13 home runs on the season for Pujols.
His friends just call him Fitty.
Fitty.
Multi-homer game last night. 533 in his career. Fouls this one off to the right.
It's amazing how well the rest of the guys in this lineup are swinging the bat and more comfortable now that Pujols is doing a lot of damage. They look to their leader. He's been swinging the bat extremely hot of late with some power numbers. Now everyone else can just do their thing as far as putting the ball in play, and when the pitcher makes a mistake, they've been hitting it out of the ballpark also.
Cuts through the fastball, and it's no balls, 2 strikes. His last multi-homer game happened to be right here in May of last year against the Tampa Bay Rays. He had 2 multi-homer games last season. The other, of course, was the night in Washington. He hit his 499th and his 500th. Albert's average up to 254 now. This is lined towards second. It's caught by Forsythe. They turn the double play. So Pujols lines into the inning-ending double play. We will head to the second with the Rays up 2-0. I want to remind you that the Angels and Rays will wrap up this 3-game series tomorrow night at 7:05 in honor of the youngest player to reach 100 home runs and 100 stolen bases. Fans in attendance will receive a commemorative Mike Trout poster courtesy of State Farm while supplies last. Purchase your tickets online. T.J. Wilson threw 12 pitches in the first inning, 8 for strikes. Gave up the home run to Forsythe to put the Angels in the hole. And here the second, he'll face Elmore, Cabrera, and Matuk. Elmore, a 281 batting average with a home run and 7 runs batted in. Showing bunt, fouls it at the plate.
Elmer 1 for 2 in his career versus CJ. Good changeup.
Yeah. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Elmer's bounced around a little bit. Originally in the Diamondback system, 34th round selection. Time in the big leagues with the Diamondbacks, the Astros, the Reds, and now the Rays. Takes downstairs. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
I wonder if he's trying to set him up with another changeup now. Fastball in, and a follow up, maybe another off-speed pitch.
And he got him. Down goes Elmore. First strikeout of the night for CJ.
Yeah, that changeup had a little cut action to it. Good speed behind the pitch, though. And it is setting up away. Changeup had some cut action.
So 1 out, nobody on, and it's Drupal Cabrera at the plate. Switch hitting shortstop. Went 0 for 4 last night. 206. A couple of home runs and 11 runs batted in. Reaching for this one, and he fouls it off to the right. Cabrera, of course, the bulk of his big league time is a member of the Cleveland Indians, but originally a Seattle Mariner, native of Venezuela.
What we've seen from this Tampa lineup already, they are aggressive, swinging early.
Called strike 3. Cabrera doesn't like the call. 2 outs.
He had a backdoor curveball called on the outside corner and a fastball up in the strike zone. Touches the upper part of the strike zone according to our Fox tracks. Iannetta is setting up in. High fastball. Catches the upper part of the strike zone. 4-seam action. The high strike call.
Yeah. Pat Hoberg calling the balls and strikes tonight. Jeff Kellogg, the crew chief at first, Alan Porter at second, and Mark Ripperger at third. Mikey Matuk, the center fielder, at the plate. We'll look at a strike, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike. Matuk in the big leagues this year, just 1 for 4. 4 games, has a home run, 2 runs batted in. First round pick back in 2011 out of LSU. Native of Lafayette, Louisiana. .3-0. Hackett.
Good changeup.
Pardon me, I had the wrong count. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes.
CJ's thrown a couple really good changeups so far in this game.
Chopper toward the middle, Ibar to his left. Wilson with a 1-2-3 second. We'll head to the bottom of the inning. Calhoun, Freese, and Joyce coming up for the Angels, down 2-0.
And the Rays lead the Angels 2-0 here in the bottom of the second. And coming up later in the game, we'll check out the big news from around the majors on the Carl's Jr. Sports Update. What a splash debut for a rookie for the Rangers. And a pitcher trying to bounce back from one of those incredibly tough outings last time out in Kansas City.
Cole Calhoun looks at a fastball inside. .270 batting average with 5 home runs and 24 runs batted in. 0 for 5 last night. And he will look at a strike. 3 infielders on the right with Cole up. The numbers just have not played out for him in that cleanup spot. But right now, this one's shot down the left field line. It's kind of the only option that Mike Scioscia has.
And he's definitely looking for some protection for Albert Pujols to get some more fastballs to see and drive. And Cole, we've talked about it a number of times. He's probably better suited for that number 1 or number 2 slot in the lineup. But he's doing what he can do to help the team win games by hitting in this spot.
Goes down swinging for the first down. Second strikeout for Archer. A hard slider down and in.
He's got a great slider. Archer does.
Fraze looks at a fastball for a strike. David last night 2 for 3 with a home run and a single. Also drew a walk. Average of .237, 9 home runs, 29 runs batted in. Jammed with that fastball in. And it is an 0-2 count. Archer with his 3rd major league club. He originally came up with the, he was originally drafted by the Cleveland Indians. 5th round pick in 06. Got traded to the Cubs in the Mark DeRosa deal as Freese goes down swinging. And prior to 2011 got traded to the Rays as part of the Matt Garza trade.
Special arm.
Yeah.
Very competitive. High energy guy on the mound. One thing you got to try to do as an offense against him is just don't let him get into a rhythm out there where he just attacks the zone throughout the night with his fastball and slider. He will mix in his changeup.
He has stepped up. There's no doubt about it, with especially with all the injuries that the Rays have had to their starting rotation. Facing Matt Joyce. We'll look at a fastball away.
They're expecting Matt Moore to be back probably sometime in July. I was talking to Bobby Wilson about Archer today, and he was telling me he's got amazing stuff. His fastball, explosive through the zone. Then when you try to gear up to his fastball, then you have to deal with his slider, which is very quick and sharp and goes away from the right-handed bat and down and in against a left-handed batter.
It's very free and easy. Looks like Matt Moore from the left side. Archer signed to a very club-friendly contract, signed through 2019, as is Moore. Length of his deal is not that long. But something that the Rays feel like you got good arms. Might as well try to lock him up with some guaranteed money.
And as a pitcher, you're always willing to sign those long-term deals to get guaranteed money.
Joyce, a swing and a miss, and Archer strikes out the side. Has 4 strikeouts tonight. 2 in the books. 2-0 Rays. Game. I want to remind you on Saturday, MLB on Fox Sports 1 returns as the Rangers take on the Royals. Then it's baseball night in America as the Angels square off against the Yankees. Coverage begins at 10:30 a.m. Pacific on your home for baseball every Saturday. Fox at Fox Sports 1.
Well, the Angels always seem to play well in New York. It's going to be a fun game. Yankees is a surprise team this year.
That whole American League East is somewhat of a surprise.
Sometimes a good surprise, sometimes not so good of a surprise.
Yeah, first pitch swinging here is Rene Rivera, and he skies one to right field, not very deep. Cole is there to put it away. So the early swinging against C.J. Wilson continues as we turn the lineup over. Second time through the order. It will be Brandon Guyer coming up.
We talked about in the beginning for C.J. the first 7 games. Getting some quick outs, not throwing a lot of pitches. Last 3 games, a lot more pitches thrown, but so far tonight doing a solid job. Just that one mistake. Forsythe, who hit that one right down the left field line for a 2-run homer.
Brandon Guyer will look at the strike. He popped out to Johnny Giavatello in shallow right field his first time up. That was lead off the game. Oh, 2. 16th game that the Rays have faced a left-handed starter. Guyer's been the leadoff man for all games now against lefty starters. 1-2 now. Rays, with the way the American League East has kind of played out, just a game back of the Yankees at 26-26. That's a called strike 3. 2 down. Third strikeout of the night for Wilson. And Pat Hoberg bringing guys up tonight. Calling a lot of strikes.
Guys have been aggressive. He's calling those pitches right on the lower part of the strike zone, sometimes the corners. Even called a high strike for CJ against Cabrera back in the 2nd inning.
Joey Butler singled up the middle. His first time up. On the corner. These two in the same organization with the Texas Rangers, but never played together at the major leagues. Butler, a 15th round pick by Texas in 2008. University of New Orleans.
I think that's the spot to get him too. Both of his hits so far in the series and right back up the middle. They were out over the plate. He's off the plate, dives towards that inside corner when the pitch is thrown.
Called strike 3. A 1-2-3 inning for Wilson. Then 7 in a row since giving up the home run to Forsythe. We'll head to the bottom of the 3rd. Rays still leading.
third. Now it's time for the T-Mobile game changer. The offense, the game changer. First 26 games, batting average 225. Since that point, the next 26, it's up 30 points. Have a little bit more than a half a run a game, plus 10 more home runs in the last 26 games in the first 26. Hence the record a lot better, 17-9 in the last 26 games for the Halos.
Chris Iannetta foul tips the first pitch. It's the bottom third of the order for the Angels. Iannetta, Neuenhuis, and Giavitello. Chris hitting 187, 3 home runs, 13 runs batted in. Had the day off yesterday. With Carlos Perez getting the start behind the dish. Chris played in Sunday's game. A couple of hits. 25 pitches, 20 strikes.
That's pretty good strike to ball ratio for him so far. I mean, that last inning finished off Matt Joyce with a 92-mile-an-hour slider. That one at 90.
Iannetta goes down swinging, and Rivera will throw down to first base to complete the strikeout. That's 4 consecutive punch-outs for Archer, 5 in the game.
It's a 91-mile-an-hour slider. It's almost like J.R. Richards used to have his slider in the 90s. You see that too often. I thought Garrett Richards was a firm slider at 87, 88, 89. So far in this game, Archer, 90, 91, 92 with his slider, fastball 95 to 97.
9 strikeouts combined. We're not through 3 innings yet. Kirk Neuenhuis, 2 for 6 as an Angel. It's the fastball right down the pipe. 1 double for Neuenhuis. He was in left field last night, in center tonight with Trout serving as a DH. Jam just flared into the seats. No balls, 2 strikes.
4th 0-2 count in the game so far for Archer.
Takes low. With this kind of stuff, it's hard to fathom Archer losing 4 games this year. He's 5-4. Coming off with no decisions. Neuenhuis fouls this one back. 8 innings against the Mariners, allowed no runs, 2 hits, and 12 strikeouts. That's the season high for him.
Not saying he's not pitching on the right days.
Well,
They're scoring runs.
King Felix that day. Breaking ball, got to look.
Now it's time for Tools of the Trade, brought to you by Ram Trucks. Johnny Giavitello, he's done a lot as far as getting those big clutch hits, but last night, perfect on the technique of getting the bunt down. His 4th sacrifice bunt of the season. Squared the bat up, played catch with it, dead in the baseball, forcing the first baseman to field the ball. And keep this in mind, we talked about it last night. Before this season, 0 sacrifice bunts for Giavitello coming into this year. Mike Scioscia had a meeting with him, had a conversation saying we needed to get the bunts down, we needed to improve as far as hitting and running, and he's done so. With the help of Dino Ebel as far as squaring around and getting that bunt down.
Oh, 2 count. Chris Archer through 2 2/3 right now, just putting on a pitching clinic. 34 pitches, 27 strikes. He has 6 punch-outs. 0-2 to Giavitello. Back up the middle, hits Archer on the leg. Ricochets to Longoria, picks it up, throws to first, and the ball goes off the glove of Elmore. Giavitello will advance to second. Boy, it looked like it was going to be out at first base. And now they're going to check on Archer, who's waving off everybody. And Kevin Cash turns right back around and heads back to the dugout.
That was a 98-mile-an-hour high fastball to hit right back up the middle. We talked about him in the pregame. We just talked about him now, how he's shortening up his swing, making good contact, using the middle of field. And he hit that ball well. It's off the leg of Archer. And almost an outstanding play. Like got him in the shin. Longoria fields it. makes a pretty good throw on the move with the bare hand. And Elmore just flat out missed it over first base.
Straight whiff by Jake Elmore. Looked like he wanted to do that whole come off the bag catch thing.
I'll tell you what, that
should get the error.
That's an unbelievable play by Longoria, though, with the bare hand, not expecting the baseball to come his way.
Longoria gets charged with the error.
Well, if that stays,
that's a tough error
for him. That'd be extremely tough error.
No doubt. That should be an error at the first baseman. Ibar takes low, so the Angels have a man in scoring position.
I mean, he had to come in on this baseball having no idea that the baseball was going to go his way.
That's right off the glove.
That's in the air to him.
Yeah.
But a good swing from Giavotella. Thing to keep in mind for Archer, that baseball was hit hard off his landing leg, the shin. That's where he's going to put the majority of his weight when he delivers the baseball. And as the game progresses, you know it's going to swell up a little bit, become stiff. Where throwing and hitting his spots may end up being an issue for him.
And to clarify, Giavotella got credited for hit. The error is going the extra base. Check swing on Ibar. They wanted an appeal. He did not go.
I don't know if he swung, but I'll tell you what, that looked like a pretty good pitch.
Yeah.
That's what Archer, I don't even think he was worried about the check swing or not. That pitch was almost right down the middle of the plate.
2 balls and 2 strikes.
It's another 92-mile-an-hour slider.
Down low, smothered by Rivera. Giavotella does not advance. Full count with Trout on deck.
Good thing for the Angels, though. A lot of extra pitches thrown down from Archer. Thought he might have been through that inning with that great play by Longoria at third base. With the ground ball off his leg.
Yeah, it probably should have been out of the inning. Those are the type of things that need to happen when a guy is going as good as Archer is going so far. And Ibar chases the breaking ball, and it doesn't matter. Giavotella stranded at second base. 3 in the books, 2-0 Rays. Hey folks, the Angels take on the Athletics on June the 12th. Fans in attendance will receive a Cole Calhoun bobblehead courtesy of Cox Communications while supplies last. Purchase tickets today at the box office or online.
Cole's a busy man.
Yeah, he's
Advisor
everywhere
tonight.
Chicken man, everywhere.
He's everywhere. He's everywhere.
Longoria, Forsythe, and Souza Jr. to face C.J. Wilson, who's retired 7 straight, including 4 strikeouts of his own.
Yeah, Archer looked like he was okay in the dugout talking to pitching coach Jim Hickey, who has done a fantastic job with this pitching staff.
One ball, one strike on Longoria, who hit a fly ball to left. Two balls, one strike. Three balls and a strike.
Dangerous count now for CJ against Longoria. He's looking on the inner half of the plate. If you can throw a little two-seam fastball away or throw that slider back door, you begin to roll over, hit a ground ball to Eric Ibar.
Here's the 3-1. That's a strike, full count. Forsythe, who homered in the first inning, is on deck. Three-two now. And a swing and a miss. Down goes Longoria, one down.
He went on the backdoor slider to get a swing and miss.
Longoria was charged with the error on the play that ball hit off of Archer. But it has since been changed to an error on the first baseman, Elmore, which is the right call.
Yeah, that ball was in the air. He tried to get off the base quickly. He still was going to be able to make the play, but what an effort by Longoria. Reason why he's won a couple Gold Gloves.
On the outside corner to even the count. Forsythe's home run in the first inning is 6th of the year. And now at 23 runs batted in. For the Rays, it's their 49th of the season. They are 9th in the American League in that category. This one's grounded sharply to Giavatello. 2 down.
Really solid effort for CJ so far as getting those quick outs. His 44 pitches thrown, 29 strikes.
Steven Souza Jr., the right fielder, grounded out to end the first. He's 0 for 1. 10 home runs on the year, 22 runs batted in. Mentioned the Rays and their 48 home runs, or pardon me, 49 home runs. The Angels have 54 home runs on the year. 14 home runs on this homestand. The homestand started, they were 10th in the American League as a team in that category. Now going into tonight's action, 7th.
Another good changeup from Wilson.
Good pitch on the corner. 1-2.
Really starting to mix his curveball, slider, and changeup in very well to go along with his fastball, two-seam, four-seam, and cut fastball.
And it looked like that was really a product or byproduct of the Rays going early in the count on his hard stuff. He made the adjustment very quickly.
And a good feel for his off-speed pitches.
That's a called strike 3. Down goes Souza Jr. And another 1, 2, 3 inning, 10th straight retired by Wilson, but the Angels still trail it 2-0.
Bottom of the fourth. Now, all you fans at home, you may remember Torreytown and Hamilton. Well, tonight, the Halo Honks are debuting the Calzone, as you see behind me, which is perfect timing, as it's Cole Calhoun's visor giveaway night here at the Big A. So if you're thinking of coming to a game, get some tickets out here, join all these Halo Honks, make a sign, and have some fun here out in right field. Victor Gooby, we got to get you guys out here.
Alex, we appreciate it, but all of a sudden I'm hungry.
Yes.
You want a calzone?
Oh, 2, please.
2. Side of marinara.
Yes.
Trout, Pujols,
That's
Calhoun.
cool. The calzone.
That's line to right field. Souza Jr. comes in, puts it away. 1 down.
With a 2-home run performance last night, 49th of his career multi-home run game for Albert Pujols. Only 11 players in Major League history have 50 or more multi-home run games. The record 72 by the Babe. Albert Pujols is swinging an extremely hot bat at this moment. And even lined out his first at bat.
Speaking of the Babe, he played in his last game ever 80 years ago today.
It's the same day, too, with it. Wally Pipp was Wally Pipp.
Was
for
Wally
Lou Gehrig.
Pipp. Yeah.
A lot of history today.
Who was Wally Pipp before Wally Pipp?
He was just this Wally.
And launched to left. Albert Pujols remains red hot. He ties Jimmy Fox for 17th all time. 534th home run. It's a 2-1 Rays lead.
Oh, that's impressive. Tied, you just mentioned, with Jimmy Fox, one of the all-time great names in the history of the game, Albert Pujols. Amazing effort tonight and what he has done on this homestand. Wow, is he crushing the baseball? It's
Yes,
not
he
easy
is.
to square up a baseball against Archer, though. He's had 2 really good swings and 2 at-bats against him.
4 home runs allowed by Archer this year. That's the 5th. No doubter. 14th home run of the season for Albert. Cuts the deficit in half.
When we talk about Lou Gehrig, Babe Ruth, and Albert, this hits a home run. What new?
27 RBIs now. Next up, the Mick.
You know, Albert, he loves the history of the game. Once somebody will ask him about that after the game, and he'll certainly be humbled. He tied with Jimmy Fox.
Cole fouls this one back, and it's a 2-ball, 1-strike count. Fastball right down the pipe, 2-2. Jimmy Fox, mostly with the Philadelphia Athletics, the Boston Red Sox.
That's why I went with 50 Cent today. Straight to the bank.
There it is.
Pujols, red hot. Goes yard again.
Little bouncer foul. Two now. Cole strikes out. And a foul tip. 2 outs. Go back and look at Albert's home run.
Slider that kind of backed up, and he knew it. Archer knew he made a mistake. Doesn't make many with that slider. The Pujols using that lower part of his body to create that leverage. Get the barrel of the bat on the baseball and way out once again. He's had some serious distance the last 2 nights.
David Freese 0 for 1 with a punch out. This is line to center. It's a single. 4th hit allowed by Archer. And a man on for Joyce with 2 down here in the 4th. Joyce, one of the 8 punch outs for Archer. Ray's right-hander struck out the side of the second. She's fouled back. Longoria, the lone man on the left side of the infield with Joyce up. Chopper back to the mound. Sounded like Joyce broke his bat. Archer, nice play. And the Angels are done here in the 4th, but they do get on the board. Albert Pujols, his 14th home run of the season and career home run number 534. Tying Jimmy Fox for 17th all time as we head to the 5th inning. The Angels down by the score of 2-1. Angels baseball is brought to you by the 2015 Jeep Cherokee with an EPA estimate of 31 miles per gallon. Visit Jeep.com for more information. By Heffernan Insurance Brokers, insurance and financial services for you and your business. Visit hefins.com. And by AT&T Uverse, more live channels on the go than cable. 2-1 Rays as we start the 5th inning. Elmore, Cabrera, and Matuk to face C.J. Wilson. He's retired 10 straight since giving up the home run to Forsythe in the 1st inning. Albert cutting that deficit in half. Jake Elmore, a strikeout victim in the 2nd. He's behind the count at 0-1.
Boy, is Albert locked in.
Hey, by the way, last half inning I said that today's the 80th anniversary of his last game. Today's the 80th anniversary of his retirement from baseball. His last game was on May 30th. He retired on June the 2nd. So my bad, but just wanted to set the record straight.
Thank you.
You got it. 2 balls and a strike here on Elmore. Bouncer to third. 1 down. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Los Angeles Angels and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Angels Baseball LP. has dribbled Cabrera for 1 as he went down looking in the second. On the corner for a strike. But I'll tell you what, I mean, you give up a 2-run home run, you know you're facing Chris Archer as a starting pitcher. You're sitting there going, I just dug us a hole. I have to keep this right here and give the Angels a chance. As this is another bouncer to David Freese. Change up over to first base, 2 outs. And C.J. Wilson has done just that. He has been fantastic since giving up that home run.
Yeah, we talked about Albert being locked in. C.J. since that home run has been locked in himself. Mentioned that, Victor. He's attacking the zone, not wasting pitches. 54 pitches now. Here we are in the 5th inning with 2 outs. 36 strikes. It's 18, 2-1 as far as strikes. The ball's out of the zone for CJ in this game at this point. And another very good changeup.
Yep.
Last 3 games for CJ, a little over 60% strikes, 55% strikes, and a little over 60% strikes. Not tonight. He is dominating the strike zone.
Mikey Matuk grounded out to short of the second. 0 for 1. 2 hits tonight for the Rays, both in the first inning. Upstairs, 1-2.
Much better balance over the pitching rubber tonight as compared to his last game where he was drifting forward. Even though numbers wise it was solid against the Tigers, he wasn't as balanced.
The approach is different. It's a different lineup than what we saw with Boston and with Toronto when he was, dare I say, tentative. But you've got a lot of right-handed power bats in that lineup. Kansas City Royals earlier on this year. He changes the game plan. This one fell off to the right.
And he really doesn't have to with his stuff.
Right.
We've said that so often. I mean, you can throw a fastball both sides of the plate like CJ can do. You can elevate the fastball. You can cut it. But also his feel for his changeup, his backdoor curveball, and slider. He has so many weapons to get even the best of right-handed batters out easily.
So he went from 0-2 to 3-2 with Rene Rivera, the catcher, on deck. Three-2. He walked him. I was just trying to be a little fancy there, but the kid who has a total of 5 at-bats in the big leagues.
You know, I go back to this sequence right here for CJ. What it was 0-2. He went that high fastball out of the zone. He got quick on his mechanics, and next thing you know, 3 in a row out of the zone at that point. Stay with your game plan. You don't have to change eye level when you're throwing as well as he's throwing.
I mean, throw him a 3rd straight changeup. Why set something up?
You don't need to set up when you can dominate a hitter like he's been doing.
Agreed, 100%. Not just CJ, any pitcher.
Exactly.
Way too often you see that nowadays. Guys trying to outthink themselves.
As a pitcher, and we both been there before, sometimes you give hitters too much credit, and vice versa for hitters. Sometimes give the pitcher too much credit. But until they square up the baseball against you or comfortable against you, you just stay where you're at. You don't have to change anything at all.
Rivera, fly ball to right field his first time up. He cuts through the fastball. Came in batting 165 with a couple of home runs and 9 runs batted in. Oh, 2.
Well, you can see how hard that slider is for CJ. Great location, 2 very good pitches thrown. Now the mindset is just finish him off with something down below the strike zone. Don't waste something upstairs.
Breaking ball in the dirt. But Matuk stays at first base. It's 1-2. Rivera's gotten the bulk of the playing time behind a plate for the Rays. 45th game for him. Bobby Wilson has played in 21 games. The former Angel. The Rays did get rid of one of the former Angels last night. Ernesto Frieri designated for assignment after the game last night. So he's kind of in that 10-day limbo. Ernesto could be claimed by any team at this point. Signed a 1 year. It was $800,000 and some bonuses, escalator bonuses.
Pretty good last night.
Yeah. Good velo. 1-2. This is down the line foul.
CJ hasn't thrown many bad changeup. That one right there got a middle of the plate. And fortunate enough that Rivera pulled that one foul. Still the right pitch. Dislocation wasn't there for him. If he goes that down and away, he's going to get an easy ground ball out.
Two and two. Rays lead it 2-1. Forsythe, a 2-run home run in the first. Albert Pujols, a solo shot in the fourth.
Boy, after being ahead 0-2 against Matuk, end up walking him. Now another 3-2 count for CJ. Had been cruising.
Especially in this part of the order. And that is hammered foul.
Since he had 0-2 against Matuk, now he's thrown 12 extra pitches to try to finish off this part of the lineup. You have a pretty dangerous hitter coming up on deck. This is the guy you want to get if you're CJ.
And this one's off the end of the bat toward left center field. Neuenhuis moving over. And he will put it away for the third out. We'll head to the bottom of the fifth. Iannetta, Neuenhuis, and Giavotella coming up for the Angels, down by a run. Bottom third of the order. Chris Iannetta will lead things off.
Very good numbers so far. 8 punch outs in 4 innings. 0 walks.
56 pitches, 43 have been strikes. 8 punch-outs. Then a strikeout victim in the third.
8 punch-outs in 4 innings. That's coming off the last game in which he had 12 punch-outs for Archer.
One and two. That one on the corner. And a slider.
Boy, that's a great sequence there. Fastball at 94 on the corner, followed by a 90-mile-an-hour slider. Same plane, but the slight sharp break to it gets a swing and miss. Wow. Thrown 60 pitches, only 14 of them have been out of the strike zone. Most of them have been by design to be out of the strike zone.
Nice, chops this one on the ground to the right side. Forsythe to Elmore, 2 down.
Well, we said coming into this game this was going to be a very well pitched ball game. Both pitchers have thrown the ball exceptionally well. Just looking for a way to get Albert Pujols a couple more times up today. That's the goal right now, the way he's swinging it.
No doubt.
Even in this game, line out and a home run.
Giavitello with a base hit, or credited with a base hit on that chopper back up the mound, or up the middle, I should say, that hit Chris Archer on the mound. Ricocheted to Longoria. Could have gotten the out at first base, but Elmore whiffed at first base on the throw. Ibar eventually struck out with Giavitello in scoring position. But Johnny 1 for 1. Huge hacks from Giavitello their last 2 pitches. 2-2 now.
Especially when he was short through his swing his first at bat for a base hit up the middle off the leg of Archer. And you just want to make sure you get an opportunity to get Eric Ibar up and see if he can get on base for Trout and then Pujols.
And Johnny strikes out. Angels are down in order. 5 complete. 2-1 Rays.
Charles Jr. Sports Update. King Guthrie turning around against the Tribe. We threw the ball well, but though Cleveland's leading that one late. And great debut for Rangers' Joey Gallo. What a debut for the youngster. Big fly, upper tank at Globe Light Park with his parents there. 3 for 4, 7 total bases, 4 RBI for Joey Gallo in his debut as a Ranger. That's a pretty good start to your career.
No doubt, a triple shy of the cycle.
And he had a chance, but he walked his last at bat. I don't blame him.
Walks are overrated. Swing the bat. First round pick by Texas, 39th overall in 2012 out of Bishop Gorman High School in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Just the 4th player in the last 100 years with at least 3 hits, 4 RBI, and 7 total bases. Impressive.
C.J. Wilson back to work. Top of the order, Geyer, Butler, and Longoria. C.J. with 6 strikeouts, 1 walk, 2 hits allowed. Geyer tonight 0 for 2 with a pop-up and a punch-out. Went down looking.
Good fastball again from C.J., but again, his balance has been very, very good over the pitching rubber. Favoring that third base side of the pitching rubber. Generally, you'll see right-handed pitchers on that side of the mound. Lefties generally favor towards middle to the first base side, but C.J. comfortable on the third base side.
Two. Geyer slightly tardy on that fastball. Rockets it into the seats.
He got him off speed last time looking. Might have been looking for an off-speed pitch. Instead, got a fastball at 90. Late.
Yeah, he hits him. So hit by pitch puts a man on. That's the first leadoff man to reach for the Tampa Bay Rays in this game. It'll bring up Joey Butler as we walk inside our broadcast booth here at the top of the 6th inning. Glad you could join us on Cole Calhoun Visor giveaway night. A lot of carrot tops in attendance tonight.
Yeah,
it's
no
good
question.
to see. But we've seen a terrific pitching performance. Actually, 2 terrific pitching performances. CJ has been good. Gave up the home run in the first. And Chris Archer's been good as well.
Impressive 10 punch-outs for Archer. But CJ's matched him as far as his stuff tonight. That fastball got away from him there, and he hits Geyer. Believe, though, that Tampa's going to try to manufacture a run here.
This one towards short, backhanded by Ibar. Gets up, fires at Giavatella for 1. The only out they get, and it's a big one. Terrific play by Eric Ibar.
That great range. This ball off the bat looked like it had a chance to get into left field for sure, but the range and then the quick get back on the feet. Perfect throw over Giavatella. Unable to get a double play, but the bottom line is you get that lead run, you still keep the double play in order, which is important for C.J. Wilson, who gets a ton of ground ball double plays. But well played by the former Gold Glover.
So 1 out, 1 on, and Evan Longoria 0 for 2 tonight with a fly ball to left and a strikeout. This one lifted foul and out of play. '78 pitches for Wilson as we play here in the 6th inning. Foul back. Count remains at 0 balls, 2 strikes.
.602 counts. in this game for Wilson. Said that a lot for Archer, too.
Gregori, broken bat bouncer. Wilson picks it up, throws to first, 2 outs.
I think CJ felt he could have made that throw to second base. Got off the mound very quickly, though. See if he has time. He jammed it. It would have been a tough play, but I think he had a shot at it. Especially when you're facing a guy like Archer tonight. You have another runner in scoring position, so now you got to really bear down if you're CJ to make sure this run does not come across.
Facing Logan Forsythe. Sorry, Goop. Homered in the first inning, grounded out in the fourth. Halos at the bottom of the inning have the top of their order coming up in Ivar, Trout, and Pujols. What? Got the bottom part of the strike zone.
Matt Hoberg has done a tremendous job behind the plate. He's calling a strike in the strike zone. The high strike, the low strike, but they're all been in the strike zone.
Imagine that.
A lot of times you see umpires just call the high strike, some will just call the low strikes. He's calling the strike zone.
And gets away from Iannetta. Butler thought about advancing, but he holds up. Two balls and one strike. They're trying to finish off the sixth inning here. Keep it a one-run deficit. Three and one. Got a pretty powerful bat and Steven Souza Jr. on deck.
CJ staying away from that inner part of the plate. Against Forsythe, who hit the home run right down the line on the pitch on the inner half of the plate.
3-1. And he walked him. Second walk of the night. This one with 2 outs, so 2 men on now. And the Rays team leader in home runs will come up. He's 0 for 2 tonight with a ground ball to third and a strikeout looking. Butler standing at second and now Forsythe at first base. That was a pretty good pitch. Chris Iannetta got a little too quick and getting that baseball back to Wilson. He caught the bottom part of the strike zone.
Yeah, just keep that glove right there. And the umpire, who's called a lot of strikes, see that pitch a little longer. That was a perfect curveball.
1-0. That one's in off the plate. 2 balls and no strikes.
It's going to force a visit here if this pitch is out of the strike zone for Mike Butcher. CJ.
He's in the upper 70s. 2 outs as far as pitches thrown. Get out of the 6th inning.
I got to believe he's going to be swinging here 3-0. Even though he's a rookie, limited time in the major league level. He's their big power threat.
And he walked him. So back-to-back walks, and now they're loaded. So here's a guy who's been mastering the strike zone the entire night and can't find the zone here in the 6th inning with 2 outs.
And the way Archer has thrown the baseball, you don't want to gift runners and all of a sudden a big inning go against you, especially when you were cruising.
To me, if you get beat by throwing strikes and guys hit the ball around the ballpark, that's one thing. But to get beat like this, you put yourself in a situation in a tight game where you need to keep the score just a 1-run deficit. I don't care how good you've pitched. It's, what do they say? What have you done for me lately?
Yeah, I mean, now for CJ, for me, all he's thinking right now, he should be thinking is get a ground ball anywhere in the infield or under your infield. So you got to force out at every base. Let's get back to the basics. Utilize that very good moving fastball that you have. Keep it down and get a quick ground ball out. And get into that dugout and see if your offense can give you the lead in the bottom of the 6th.
20 pitches thrown this inning. Here's Jake Elmore, the first baseman, a strikeout and a ground out. 1-0.
Now all of a sudden, Amon. Oh, that's 6 in a row out of the zone. I'm thinking you got to be thinking in terms of potentially taking this pitch if you're Elmore.
Maybe got a gift.
That was borderline, and he was taken all the way. Even Cash didn't like the call.
Nope. Former catcher himself.
Hoberg has been very, very good in this game.
This is line to right. Cole Calhoun comes racing in, dives in, he can't come up with it. 2 runs will score, and it's a 4-1 Rays lead. Nice effort by Cole Calhoun to try to squeeze that 3rd out. Looked like it went in and out of the glove, but it'll go as a single for Elmore, and 2 runs batted in.
And that fastball was up, allowed Elmore to hit the ball the other way. A full dive. And no, the ball just before it gets to the glove hits the outfield grass. Great effort, though, by Cole Calhoun. Almost made his patented, unbelievable diving catch in right field.
Souza ends up over at 3rd base. Runners at the corner, still 2 outs, and here's his dribble Cabrera. Some movement in the Angels bullpen now. And that is line to right, and that'll get down for another hit, so it's 5-1. The wheels have come off. C.J. Wilson here in the 6th inning. Edgar Ibarra, first man up. Called up yesterday before the game. but took 0 for 1 with a ground out and a walk. 5-1 Rays here in the 6th inning. An inning that looked like CJ was going to get out of with no damage whatsoever. And that is a called strike 3, but a couple of batters too late. 3 runs in. It's 5-1 Rays. And when we come back, it's an all-new Gooby Tuesday. What are the favorite comfort foods for your Angels?
Restaurant, maybe you're on a menu that you haven't really found anything that really sounds great at the time. I think you can't go wrong with a cheeseburger.
Mom's Mexican, home cooked, traditional Mexican food. You just can't beat that. And yeah, I mean, I wish I could eat that every day, but I don't think I'd be able to play baseball if I kept eating Mom's cooking every day.
I'll tell you what, right now I'm hungry.
And why wouldn't you be?
Oh.
5-1 Rays now. Chris Archer back to work facing the top of the order. Eric Ibar is 1 for 2 with a single and a strikeout.
Archer sat for a long time in that half inning. Maybe will make some mistakes, but I'll tell you what, his stuff has been electric tonight.
Slider in the dirt. It's 1 ball, 2 strikes. 10 punch outs tonight for Archer. No walks and 4 hits allowed. Both teams, as a matter of fact, have managed 4 hits. There, a swing and a miss. Ball gets by Rivera, so it'll be a strikeout, and then a wild pitch allowing Ibar to reach. Well, get him on any which way, right?
Well, that's a pretty good indication how good his slider is. That pitch was out in front of the plate area, and you still get a hitter to swing at it, a hitter that's been swinging the bat well. There's nothing really that Rivera can really do, especially when it hits the plate like that. Wait, there's 70 pitches thrown, but 11 strikeouts. Usually when you have 11 strikeouts, you're already over the 100 pitch mark. 53 strikes, 17 out of the strike zone with the 70 pitches in this game for Archer.
And 12 strikeouts in his last start. That's his career high. He's done that twice. But last year for the first time against Texas, and his last start against the Seattle Mariners. Trout 0 for 2 with a punch out and a line out to right field.
can change speeds with his slider. Another 0-2 count. His last 18 and a third innings pitched for Archer, 31 strikeouts. 6 0-2 counts in this game for him.
Ibarra continues to loosen for the Angels, so looks like we've seen the last of C.J. Wilson tonight. One of those trying to get a little extra sink movement in on the hands.
Yeah, he hasn't backed up a fastball in with another fastball in. So if you trot, you're probably looking away for a slider, although a fastball back in would be very effective for Archer.
Two and two.
You see what Trot was looking. He was looking away, and he ran that fastball in again. Just 19 pitches out of the strike zone this entire game for Archer.
Big lead for Ibar at first base. Another 2-2. And he's fouled back, spoiling another slider. Pujols on deck. It's fouled back above us.
Some tough pitch that Trout has fought off. At some point, as a pitcher, you're going to make a mistake. You know, if you're Mike Trout, you just got to make sure you capitalize when he makes a mistake in this sequence.
And he got him with a high fastball.
97. And this is last night with Albert. His 2 mammoth swings. 2 home runs last night. And in the 4th inning tonight, the sound of the barrel of the bat and the distance way out for Albert for 3 home runs in the last 2 games.
One for 2. Lined into a double play in the 1st inning and that home run in the 4th. Shoots this one in the air to right. Souza puts it away. 2 outs.
He's on that pretty good too. A fastball at 96 on the outside corner. Shows you how hot Albert Pujols is right now.
Cole 0 for 2 with a couple of punch outs. This one down the left field line, slicing out of play. This one's pulled into the shift. And Cole retired for the third out. 6 complete. It is 5-1 Rays. Is brought to you by Time Warner Cable. Enjoy better. Call 1-855-1-TWC. By Mercury Insurance, on a mission to save you money. Log on to mercuryinsurance.com to get a fast, free quote and see how much you can save. And by Hyundai. Great deals on amazing cars are going on now at your Hyundai dealer. Visit buyhyundai.com today. Top of the 7th here at the Big A. It's 5-1 Rays. The Angels offense has been stymied tonight by a very good Chris Archer, who's matched his career high in strikeouts with 12. The Angels will send Edgar Ibarra to the mound, making his major league debut. It's our in and out, who's in, who's out. Taking over for C.J. Wilson, who went 6 innings, gave up 5 runs all earned on 4 hits, one of which was a home run.
Yeah, Ibarra's fastball tops out at 92, so he's 88-92. Curveball, changeup.
Added to the 40-man roster before yesterday's ball game.
Perseverance.
No doubt. Most of that time in the minor leagues in the Minnesota Twins system. This year at AAA Salt Lake, 2-1 record, a 2.25 ERA in 17 games. Breaking ball down low. 26-year-old from Venezuela. From Valencia, Venezuela.
What a great story this is, though, to have an opportunity to make it to the big leagues after all that time.
That's in the air to left center field. Not very deep. Long run in for Joyce. He's there. 1 down as Rivera's retired for the 3rd time tonight. Folks, celebrate the grad in your life. Angels grad packs include 4 tickets to select home games and an Angels graduation tassel for just $100. Purchase your grad pack today at angels.com/grad pack. Brandon Guyer, 0 for 2, was hit by a pitch to start the 6th inning. The unraveling for C.J. Wilson occurred with Logan Forsythe at the plate. 2 outs. This one pulled foul. Man at second. At 2 outs. Forsythe walked. Souza walked. Jake Elmore, the 2 RBI single that Cole almost came up with. Cabrera with an RBI single, and then Matuk ended up striking out looking to finish off that 6th inning. Just off the plate.
Even against Guyer, he hit him with a fastball in the leg. He had him set up well. His fastball got away from him. Very quick, efficient first 4 innings for CJ.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Full count. Tonight's 5 earned runs, the second most that CJ's allowed this season in a start. Gave up 6 in his second start. That was against Kansas City right here on April the 12th. So Edgar certainly doesn't like to waste any time.
No, he's got a quick pace out there on the mound.
There's the 3-2. Got him looking down. Goes Geyer. First big league strikeout for Edgar Ibarra.
91-mile-an-hour fastball. Getting the inside corner, according to our Fox tracks.
They want the baseball. Set it aside. Mike Scioscia asking for it.
You work that hard to get to this level. I think that's a great decision for Scioscia to be able to get and keep that baseball.
Yeah, the gentleman behind the, or just to the right of Scioscia that works for Major League Baseball, that authenticates everything.
That's awesome.
Got the baseball now, puts a sticker on it, registers it. Logging it down. There he is. It's official. He had no idea we were going to put him on camera today.
No.
'Joey Butler 1 for 3. He has scored twice. Lays off. 1 ball, 1 strike. Two balls, 1 strike. Ibarra last year had time in both the New Britain and Rochester in the twin system, AA and AAA. Struggled at AA. Good numbers at AAA. The Angels signed him in the offseason. Pitches every year in Venezuela in winter ball.
That's a great changeup there also. And a fastball count. Great location for that all-speed pitch.
Two. And a swing and a miss. Back-to-back strikeouts for Ibarra, and he has himself a nice debut. A 1, 2, 3, 7th. We'll head to the bottom of the 7th. Rays on top 5-1. Job by Edgar Ibarra in his major league debut. Facing 3 batters, picking up a couple of strikeouts.
One after that last strikeout, I love what I saw from his teammates. And into that dugout with another perfect off-speed pitch. Get a swing and miss from Butler. The high fives from everybody in that dugout. Know how long it took to get to this level and have a very solid debut here with 2 punch outs. 1-2-3 inning. What a great feeling that must be for him.
Freeze, Joyce, and Iannetta for the Angels here in the 7th. One, two, and a swing and a miss. 13th strikeout for Chris Archer, and that's a new career high for him.
Took a little bit off that slider at 87. Only has 2 career complete games, both of those shutouts. None this year so far. But only 85 pitches to strike out 13 batters.
Joyce, a big rip at the off-speed pitch. Matt 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a comeback into the mound.
Back-to-back changeups for Archer against his former teammate. 8-0-2 counts.
2 down.
After back-to-back changeups, goes upstairs with a 96-mile-an-hour fastball.
Chris Iannetta has struck out twice tonight. Chris Archer, the first Ray ever with back-to-back games with 12 or more strikeouts, and he's just now at 90 pitches. 14 strikeouts at 90 pitches.
It's amazing the pitch total with that many strikeouts.
Iannetta lines one to center field. Now we'll get down for a base hit, a 2-out single.
That slider a little bit elevated out over the plate. Iannetta able to get a base hit up the middle. Good piece hitting by Chris Iannetta.
Kirk Neuenheis got the start at center. 0 for 2 tonight with a strikeout and a ground down.
He's faced 26 batters in this game, 20 first pitch strikes. Painting the outside corner at 95. Now he's starting to mix in more and more changeups. James Shields, now with the Padres, has the Rays record with 15 punch-outs in a game.
Neuenheis lifts one out to left center field. And it's McCook tracking it down shy of the track for the 3rd out. So 7 complete now. The Rays still in control of this one, 5-1.
We are through 7 innings at the Big A. The Rays on top of the Halos 5-1. Game 2 of this 3-game series. Welcome back, everybody. Ken French with you right outside the Big A. And don't forget, following this one, it's all about Angels Live, presented by your SoCal Mazda dealers. Jose Mota, Alex Curry, and myself will break this one down, bring you the storylines, including Rays starter Chris Archer. He's been dealing tonight 14 strikeouts through 7 innings. A new career high for him. The only run he gave up, Albert Pujols going deep. His 6th homer over his last 6 games, number 14 on the year for Albert. That and much more. It's all about Angels Live coming up after the game. But right now, for the start of the 8th, let's head inside. Victor Rojas and Mark Gubazov.
Thanks a lot, Frenchie. Here in the 8th inning, Longoria, Forsythe, and Souza Jr. to face Edgar Ibarra. Second major league inning, had himself a 1-2-3 7th. Longoria swinging first pitch, grounds one to short. One down. Longoria 0 for 4 tonight.
Played once again by Eric Ibar in shortstop position.
Forsythe, the 2-run home run in the first inning, a ground out in the 4th, and a walk that started the unraveling for CJ in the 6th. Texas earlier today beat the White Sox 15-2. That was Jeff Samardzija got that start for the White Sox. Houston won as Ibarra's pitch just misses outside.
Yeah, impressive win by Houston. They were down 4-0 through 6 innings and came back.
They
won that one.
They came back last night too against Baltimore, right?
Yes, they did.
6-4 the win for the Stros.
So something, I think their batting average and runs scored after the 7th inning is tops in baseball.
Oakland beat Detroit today 5-3. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Cleveland defeating Kansas City. Wade Davis gave up a run. He walked 2 batters.
That's major news.
Yeah, I think his ERA is below .50. Might be even below .4. It's a pretty good 8th inning, man.
Yeah.
Seattle hosting the Yankees. Mariners leading 2-1 in the 6th inning.
Boston got a well-pitched ball game today. They beat the Minnesota Twins 1-0.
Two.
Wasn't Rick Porcello. That was for Boston today. That was Clay Buchholz.
Wow.
Who had been struggling.
1-0 over a red-hot Minnesota Twins team.
Even that day off, they got rained out yesterday.
Yeah. They had the votes of confidence of the owner, John Henry, for John Farrell and Ben Cherington, the GM. This one's popped up behind the plate, now to play.
Boy, sometimes when you're playing so well as a team, you don't want a day off. You certainly don't want to be rained out. You want to continue playing when you're playing so well. Slowed down by Buchholz, who can slow down the game pretty well.
Yeah, I think it was like 48 degrees right before first pitch. Small crowd there at Fenway. John Henry addressing the media because there's been some speculation about John Farrell and this and that. He said both are more than fine there. That one's outside. It's a walk. So it'll bring up Souza Jr. You can follow the Angels all season long with MLB.com. At Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. At Bat is up to the moment at any moment. With in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcast, StatCast, and more. Get MLB.com at Bat for your smartphone or tablet today. So a 1-out walk. And Steven Souza Jr. will bat here. He's 0 for 2 tonight. Fouls this one off to the right.
He's spot again with a changeup.
Very a lot of pronation with that elbow on that chain. Almost screwball. I'm not saying it is a screw, but it looks like he's trying to turn that ball over.
He's making sure that that changeup stays nowhere near middle part of the plate. He's going to run that one away against a right-handed batter.
Downstairs.
And did it again. This time he overthrew that changeup just a bit.
One, two. Inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
See right here when he gets that good balance, he's trying to turn this one over. See at that very end, he ends up cutting on that off-speed pitch.
This one line to center. Neuenhuis is there.
It's another changeup.
2 down.
This changeup a little bit better for Ibarra. Got him out in front. You know, he hit that ball pretty far in the outfield. He was still out in front on the location and the speed of the changeup. So he's able to turn that one over. It's a routine fly ball to center field. Done a nice job of mixing and matching, showing enough of his fastball to get the hitters out with the off speed.
Jake Elmore takes ball 1. 2 RBI single. It expanded the Rays lead from 2-1 to 4-1. Cabrera chipped in another single after that. What a what?
Fastball once again. Both his fastball and his changeup, the way he throws his fastball, more of a cutter. So he turns his wrist one way and then turns the wrist the other way on his changeup. So you get the fastball going in against the righty and his changeup going away against the righty.
Dirt. Two balls and 2 strikes and 2 outs here in the 8th. Halos in the bottom of the inning have Giavatella, Ibar, Trout coming up. Two. That's line to left foul. In the seats.
In front of that curveball.
Forsythe, the base runner at first. He takes off. This one's lifted in the air. Eric Ibar, the shortstop. And we'll head to the bottom of the 8th inning. The Angels down 5-1. The 8th inning, the Halos have 9, 1, and 2 coming up. But they have yet to solve the mastery of Chris Archer tonight. 14 strikeouts, 1 shy of the Rays record of 15. He's thrown 94 pitches. Giavotella, Ibar, and Trout here in the 8th.
No walks is the impressive thing also. When you have 14 punch-outs. Continues to get ahead of the count. He's faced 27 batters, 21 first pitch strikes. For Chris Archer, very, very impressive.
Giavotella lines one to right. Souza is there. 1 out.
Winterberg will try to drag a bunt right now just to try to get on base. Give Troutman and Pujols an opportunity to swing with some guys on base.
Eric Ibar 1 for 3. He skies one to right. And Souza misplays it. Ibar ends up at second.
Yeah, that looked odd out there in right field. He was camped underneath it. Then all of a sudden looked.
Did he think Matuk called him off?
That's what he looked like he was looking for him.
You know what? Somebody in the crowd may have yelled, "I got it."
Somebody in the calzone.
Yeah. Well, it's half a calzone now. We're in the 8th inning. Most of them have gone home. I do believe that's a hit.
It's got to be.
Double. Trout 0 for 3. A couple strikeouts and a fly ball to right.
Another 0-2 count. 100 pitches thrown, 77 strikes for Archer in the game.
Trying to climb the ladder there.
He's going to try that slider off the outside corner now. It's still amazing. 77 pitches. 77 strikes and 101 pitches thrown.
There's a strikeout, 15th of the night. That ties James Shields for the most strikeouts in the game by a Rays starter.
95-mile-an-hour fastball with great location.
And I'm still at 102 pitches. James Shields set the record on October 2nd, 2012 against Baltimore. Archer is tied it tonight.
No walks.
Albert is the only starter that has not struck out. The fastball gets away from Rivera. Looks like Rivera got crossed up there. So Ibar will advance to third.
Hyundai key for this game. Talked about Albert Pujols, how hot he has been. Straight to the bank. Home run tonight. A line drive out and just missed. Another fly ball to deep right field. I think he's going to go out and talk to Archer now. The bullpen starting to move around Tampa.
Left-hander Jake McGee is getting ready. Jim Hickey out to pay a visit. Cesar Ramos getting ready for the Angels. Albert chops it foul. Pujols double play line out in the first inning. A home run in the fourth. A fly ball to right in the sixth. This is out toward left center field. Matuk moving back on the warning track now near the wall, reaches up and he'll make the catch. Albert just missing. A multi-homer game for the second consecutive night. We head to the ninth. Halos down 5-1. Incredible innings, 6 hits, 15 strikeouts, matching a career high, but his reaction on this last swing by Pujols, priceless.
He thought Albert got another one. He's looking back to the wall and thinking, oh, he got it again. But Albert just missed that.
About an hour and a half ago, that might have gone out.
And he still had an apple in between innings. That's the key. The doctor said an apple a day keeps the doctor away.
15 Ks, no walks, and 105 pitches.
We knew he was good, but he is taking that next step to that next level as far as dominant pitchers in all of baseball.
Cesar Ramos takes over here for Edgar Ibarra, who worked 2 innings in his major league debut, 2 strikeouts, 1 walk.
And again, how's he 5-4?
Exactly. 27 strikeouts in the last 2 starts. Cabrera lining one beyond the reach of Eric Ibar, and it's a leadoff single for Asdrubal Cabrera, who's 2 for 4. And this Saturday, the FIFA Women's World Cup begins as Alex Morgan leads the U.S. women's national team against the best teams in the world in search of their 3rd World Cup title. The only place you can see the 2015 FIFA Women's World Cup is on Fox and Fox Sports 1 beginning June 6th.
Well, looking at his stats too, for Arch, he didn't walk anybody last game out either with 12 punch-outs. That's back-to-back starts, 8 innings pitched, no walks, 27 strikeouts. Then he got a no decision last time out. 8 shutout innings, no walks, 12 punchouts.
But Duke is 0 for 2 with a walk. Went around. 1 ball, 1 strike. Swing and a miss. Trying to steal, and doing so is Cabrera.
Pretty good jump going on first movement. Not much of an opportunity for Chris Ionetti to throw out Cabrera. Guessing right. 3rd stolen base, 4 attempts.
Ramos pitched on Sunday. A total of 5 pitches an hour. Breaking ball, swing and a miss. Down goes Batuk, and there's the first down here tonight. And up steps Rene Rivera, the catcher.
Good slow curveball. Ramos way out in front. Big punch out.
Rivera for 3 with 3 fly ball outs. 1 to right, 1 to center, 1 to left. This is line to center field. It's a base hit. Cabrera is going to be waved in. Neuenhuis comes up with it, fires it up the line, and the run scores. It's 6-1. So Ramos gives up a run here the 9th inning against his former teammates. Rivera picks up his 10th RBI. Top of the order now, and Brandon Guyer 0 for 3. Also hit by a pitch to lead off the 6th inning. Both teams with 6 hits. Rays have stranded 4. The Angels have left 5 on base. Guyer, chopper to short. Ibar comes in, feeds Giavotella. Relay to first, and out at first. We might get Kevin Cash. Have the guys downstairs take a look at it.
It looks like he's walking out.
And they are going to look at it at first base.
So the ball's in the glove.
Yeah. So we will hang out here until we get the replay review. Ball's in the glove there. Foot's not on the bag yet. Should get a pretty quick answer. A nice job by Ibar charging that baseball and feeding Giavotella with the speedy Guyer running down the line.
Yeah, this should be pretty quick, you would think. Quick turn. Ball in the glove, just the foot hits the base. Good angle right here. Ball in the glove, right there, secured, as the foot is not quite touching the base.
Headsets are off. It's a double play. We will head to the bottom of the ninth here at the Big A. Calhoun, Freeze, Joyce coming up. The Angels down 6-1. One lead here in the bottom of the ninth inning. Xavier Cedeno takes over on the mound to face Calhoun, Freeze, and Joyce.
What an effort, though, by Archer. So his 15 punch-outs, no walks. It's complete command throughout the entire game.
Looking for his 6th win of the year.
Cedeno fastball, 87 to 92. Throw a slider, cut fastball, changeup.
Calhoun tonight 0 for 3. Cole 0 for his last 13 since homering in the first inning of Saturday's game against Detroit. Downstairs. It's 2 balls, 1 strike. Cedeno originally 31st round pick at 04 by the Colorado Rockies. Got into 5 games with the Nationals. As Cole fouls this one back. It was earlier this year. Cedeno had his contract purchased by the Dodgers. At first he was selected off waivers from the Astros, had his contract purchased by the Dodgers, then the Rays purchased the contract from the Nationals. So he's seen a couple of organizations. But listen, if you're lefty and you have a pulse, you got a chance.
Especially when you can get a fastball up there in the 90s with an assortment of slider, curveball, changeup combination.
Walked him. So the leadoff man is on board. David Freeze a 1 for 3 game with a single and a couple strikeouts. It's interesting numbers for Cedeno. That 1.93 ERA looks really good. 12 hits, 4 walks at 9 1/3.
It's a lot of base runners.
Yeah. His whip is 1.714.
And out of the bullpen, that generally usually means you're going to have a higher ERA than that.
(1-0). That's a strike.
Freese with that hit back in the 4th inning. 7-game hit streak for David Freese.
On the outside corner. Grant Green has grabbed a bat. He'll be pinch hitting for Matt Joyce. Freese hits this one out to right center. It took. He's back on it, makes the catch, 1 out. Matt Joyce finishes the night going 0 for 3 as Grant will pitch in here. Four for 18. Grant got the start Sunday at at first base. Takes low. 6 runs, 6 hits, 1 error, 4 left on for the Rays. A 1 run, 6 hits, 5 left on for the Angels. Had their hands full with Archer tonight. And it was a terrific matchup through 5 innings. 2-1 game. Green flares one out to right field. Long run for Steven Souza Jr. and he will get there. It's round number 2. Cole back to first. Angels in jeopardy. Having their winning streak snapped at 5.
It was a game in the standings to the Astros, who came back
in
their game against Baltimore after being down by 4. Man right there was absolutely dominant tonight. 15 strikeouts, no walks, 8 solid innings, 1 run allowed, a home run by Pujols, who almost hit a second home run against him.
Albert, the only guy to not strike out, only starter to not strike out against Archer. Nobody holding Calhoun, and he will take off. Doesn't matter. Little fly ball to shallow right field. Forsythe going out, and the Angels drop game 2 against the Tampa Bay Rays. 6-1 the final tonight.
That's the story right there. That man right there, Chris Archer, dominant performance. Now 6-4, 15 punch outs, no walks in the game. That's 0 walks, 27 strikeouts in his last 2 starts.
C.J. Wilson takes a loss as he gives up 5 of the 6 runs. The Angels' 5-game winning streak comes to an end. Stick around. Angels Live post-game edition is coming up next.